Welcome back to the Motown Breakdown. I'm Jack D'Angelo.
And I'm Juice Mavinac.
So, Dries, this is going to be our last podcast before the Detroit Lions make their selection in the draft. So,
Yeah.
we can just talk about that for a little bit. So, who do you think, like, if you had to choose at least a position that you think we're gonna pick, who do you think it's
I
gonna
think
be?
it would be edge rusher. I think a lot of people think we're going edge rusher, especially now that we got rid of Smith. I think we'll go with a younger edge rusher who can help Hutchinson or be a, you know, backup to one of them, get some key plays in. And I think it's either going to be Mike Green or Jack Sawyer, just depending on which one falls to us. Because I think this draft is obviously different because for the past two-ish drafts, we've gone after secondary, right? We've been hard on secondary, trying to get corners, safeties. I think this one's going to be a different. We attack with maybe offensive line and edge rushers, maybe sneak a linebacker in there, but I don't know. What do you think?
So, they love their project guys, and it's not typical for them to take a project with their first round pick. But what it looks like, this guy, Gray Zabel, out of North Dakota State, he's an O-lineman. He plays a lot of positions. I've seen a lot of, hype around him.
Okay.
And given just how the Lions seem to like to take their, project O-linemen,
Yeah.
which, you've seen it, Kobe Sorsdahl, Giovanni Manu, they love their project O-linemen. And I think that they might take Gray Zabel if, say, maybe one of those edges or Mike Green. I'm thinking Mike Green if we're going to take an edge.
We go him, yeah.
He seems like the type of guy, again, out of a smaller college, someone who's not, out of that big, one of those Big Ten schools or
Yeah.
SEC or something like that. He's out of Marshall, and that's kind of a different school. So I'm thinking that we're gonna go with somebody a little bit less known. Maybe not saying Mike Green is unknown, but Mike Green or Gray Zabel, I would say.
Yeah, and the thing though I didn't watch, like you said, since he went to a smaller school, I didn't watch Mike Green on. But Jack Sawyer, I kind of did, and he's the guy that could play linebacker if you need to, right? He can go out of this. He can go right from his edge rusher position into a zone, kind of guarding the sideline, all that.
Yeah.
So he is a versatile player. He can get to the quarterback. He can cause pressure, but he can also play a bit of linebacker in there, like getting interceptions, making big tackles. So, but it will be interesting to see what Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell do.
Yeah, and I think we're hitting this position at a good time in the draft because I feel like there's a lot of promising guys.
Correct. Yes.
You could take, I don't keep going back to him, Gray Zabel. You can take him, and you could probably still get someone like Jack Sawyer with a second-round pick. I think that there's a lot of good edges on the market, at least in this draft.
Correct.
And, James Pierce Jr., Mike Green, Jack Sawyer,
Abdul Carter, yeah.
There are a lot of people who are going to change your defense. And, we don't need a big impact player. We just need a guy who's going to go on the other side of Aiden Hutchinson and, of course, do something.
Yes.
And I think that we're in a good position for that. So we maybe can get a little bit more funky with how we spend that first or second round pick.
Yeah.
Because I think we can fall back onto, again, either that first or second round pick if we decide to do something different.
Correct. I guess one last thing, if Abdul Carter falls off because he was projected number one, if I think maybe if the Giants got the number one overall pick, but he was projected top 5. Now he's projected around 10, outside the top 10. If Abdul Carter falls, late in the first round, which I don't think he will, would you want us to pick him up or just
Absolutely.
go with our pick of Jack Sawyer or Mike Green?
Yeah, I feel like where I get with the Abdul Carter is that one, I feel like for some reason I feel like he's gonna go to the Eagles, which I hate. But I think also the fact that he is hurt or he needs surgery, I think that makes me think he's a worse player than he actually is.
Okay.
And I don't want to say no, we just shouldn't get him because he's a very good player. But at the same time, would it be beneficial to just take a healthier guy and just hope for the best?
Correct. Moving on to the Pistons, they closed out their season against the Bucks, lost 140, 139, but they're in the playoffs. I mean, what did you get out of that game? I know we had some young guys or guys coming off the bench to start first. What did you see out of that?
I think we're going to be okay without, like Cade Cunningham. Like, I think we're going to be able to take some of these guys, that aren't, our star players, and I think we're going to be able to make an impact. And, this is relatively insignificant considering it had absolutely nothing to do with the, actual, turnout of us getting into the playoffs. But, at the time of recording this, last night, it was or yesterday, I should say, they versed the Bucks. And they were down a lot.
Yes.
And they were able to sink a three-pointer. It was Lindy Waters Jr. He was able to sink a three-pointer to take the game to overtime. Now, how I look at that is that it's promising because we can take someone who's, not one of our star players, and he can make an impact, and he can put this game into overtime, and we can make impacts and come back from a, deep deficit.
Correct. And I mean, I took this game with a grain of salt. Duran didn't really play that many minutes. Cade didn't. I don't think Cade got in the game at all. I don't think Giannis got in the game. I'm not sure about Dame. So I took that game with a grain of salt, and it's like, okay, it would be a whole other game if both teams' star players actually played the game. So, but it is promising to see our young, not young guys, but some of our guys off the bench, come up and actually do well. And going into the playoffs, you're gonna need that because I don't think you're gonna get a perfect game out of Cade, Tobias, Duran, Asar Thompson, and Malik Beasley almost every night. You could. I would
It's
love
entirely
it, but
possible, but it's just you gotta be able to spread your talent a little bit.
Correct. And I mean, speaking about this playoffs, I like us against the Knicks better than I like us against the Pacers. I think the Pacers just handled us during the season. The Knicks, though, I think we can, if we start strong, it's all about our start. If we can go into New York, split that and come back to Detroit, I think that would be a big win for us. Because I think in Detroit, I don't see us getting, I think it's the playoff format is a 2-3-2. I don't see us, getting swept, one, but I see us winning 2 games in Detroit. Just that place is going to be, it's going to be on fire. Everybody's going to be excited. That place is going to be packed. So
yeah, and it's all about getting hot. I mean,
yeah,
we've seen it with the Tigers, of course, and we can talk about the Red Wings. We'll get to that in a second, but it's just all about getting hot, and I think that we can do it.
Yes.
I think if you can get into that right mindset, you can make a deep playoff push. And I'm not an expert in the NBA, so maybe this is an absolutely crazy statement, but you might be able to make it to the championship. Yeah, maybe if you get hot, because they've shown that they can defeat the big guys. I mean,
we've had close games against Cleveland. We've had close games against Boston. I mean, I think we've shown that we can be up there with these tough teams. We swept the Lakers. I know we only played 2 games, but we won 2 games against the Lakers. So it's like, we've when we're playing the better teams, we've shown that we could beat them.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, yes, we went, we were only a few games above 500, and we had a dominant record against teams under 500, and then we had a losing record. It's like, no, we had a decent record against teams 500 and up, or that are championship caliber teams. So, getting on with the Red Wings. So
I don't know if there's really even much to say there. I mean, it's just sad, honestly.
Yeah, they had it. They had it, and they blew it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just 9 straight seasons without playoffs. I mean, we've seen it before, Lions. But it's still, it sucks.
It hurts. Here's the thing. So the last 3 seasons, 3 seasons ago, we lost with actually, I think 4 years ago, we lost with 2 weeks left to go in the regular season. So we were close, but, kind of far out. 3 years ago, I believe we lost with 1 week to go. Last year, we lost on the last day, which was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
You know, we did all that we could. We won the final game, but you know, I think it was Philadelphia won something, and I forget what it was, and you know, it sucked. And then there's so much optimism going into this season, and you know, we kind of just shot ourselves in the
Let
foot.
it go. I mean,
Yeah,
it wasn't good.
no,
And
it was not.
you know, after they fired, was it the GM and the head coach,
Yeah,
or maybe just I can't remember. But
there's the head coach.
like after they fired him, they went on that streak, and it was
Yes.
actually looking like they could make a playoff push,
Correct.
and they might have actually been able to do something in the playoffs. And now we sit here again, same situation we were in last year, where it's late season, they fall apart, and it just really makes you wonder. It's like, does this team have a future? Because Pistons, Lions, Tigers, like there's hope.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't feel that for the Red
The
Wings.
Red Wings,
Like,
I feel like at a standstill. And here's the thing: so I don't know that much about hockey. I don't know that much about basketball. You know, I could say, last season I knew what the Tigers needed. I knew what the Lions needed to make their season better. The Red Wings, I don't know. I don't know if they need, because we're scoring goals. I think that we need Dylan Larkin, to be honest. We kind of need him to step up and do more. We need him to, shoot the puck more. Like, he's got to start carrying this team
Yeah.
on his back. But it's like, I don't know where to start. Like, who do you go after, And that's where I'm not strong. I don't know who's on the free agent block. But it's like, who do you go? What position you go after? And, 3 years ago, the Red Wings were the top dog
yeah,
in Detroit. They were the top dog, even though they had like a sub 500 season.
Yeah.
They were close enough to 500. The Tigers, Lions, Pistons, they all sucked. Now, 3 years later, the Lions, Pistons, and Tigers are all making the playoffs, and the Red Wings are still at what they were with a few games above 500. It's like they have not moved the needle.
yeah.
And if they haven't moved it enough. So,
all right, we can get on to your favorite Detroit Tigers.
Yeah, so the Tigers, they lost yesterday 5-1, but they have had a tremendous start. They're 10-5.
9-6.
They're 9-6.
Yeah,
Okay, my bad.
it's okay.
Oh yeah, they are. Oopsies. But they have proved that they can, play well. And the thing is, I was talking to my brother the other day. We have not played a single good team outside of the Yankees and Dodgers. And the Dodgers are the best team, and they swept us. But since we've kind of rekindled what we had at the beginning of last season, we've only played one good team in the Yankees, in which we, won that series. But I would like to play another good team to actually see, okay, where can this team go?
Yeah.
Like how, and I think Tarek Skubal, he got in his groove. He finally found 2024, Tarek Skubal. He had a rough start to the year.
Yeah.
Miser's doing well. Torkelson is on fire. Green, I would like to see more bad out of him, but he's doing well. This team, I think, can make it to the playoffs. They could win this division.
Yeah,
I think kind of handily.
And who was it? The Guardians were on top last year.
Yeah.
And they're not doing too hot, are they?
No.
Yeah. So.
No, this division is kind of weak.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I feel like,
I mean, we're first right now with 9-6,
Yes.
which.
I think it could be, if we win 87 to 89, 90 games, we can win this division. And it usually takes 92 to 95 games to win a division. But this division right now is kind of weak. The White Sox aren't going to do anything. The Twins looks like they're not going to do anything. The Royals are up and down. The Guardians, they look okay, but not as good as they did last season. So we'll see.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping they can make the playoffs, because
Yeah.
you would then have, again, three Detroit teams in one season, like 1 year make the playoffs, right? The Lions did. I know they, it wasn't the best, but we did make the playoffs.
Yeah.
At the Pistons, and then if the Tigers can make it, I mean, that's three teams in 2025, and hopefully in 2026, we can get all four. The Red Wings can step up to par and
Yeah.
do it.
And I mean, we can talk about how this has affected Detroit. I mean, I think with the city flourishing, we're kind of able to enter, these leagues with more competitive teams and
Correct.
teams that could actually do something. And I'm kind of hoping, just like kind of end off here, like that, we as a city can have a new age of
Yeah.
Detroit sports,
Oh my
and that
goodness.
something's going to change. And I'm hoping for a championship of any sort in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
And I fully believe that that's possible.
Yes.
So that's the Motown breakdown. Thank you.
Thank you.